Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. It's Monday, baby. It's Monday. A new week. It's going to be a good one. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. You're looking absolutely amazing, by the way, and we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes as we are sticking with the Idaho 4 case because we are heading towards trial. We're heading towards trial. There's a lot of stuff happening around this. I know there's going to be more stuff coming out over the weeks as we head closer and closer to the trial. And look, this is about balancing the books, balancing the scales, if you like, balancing the scales. There's many, many people who feel that Bryan Kohberger did this crime, and there are many, many outlets that will lead you to believe that don't look at anything else, just understand that he did the crime, he deserves to die, let's just execute him. In fact, let's not even have a trial. We don't need a trial. Why are we having a trial? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. I can hear it now, all the people who support Banfield saying,
look, he did the crime, definitely. Bryan Kohberger's guilty. You just have to look at those cold, dark eyes, his eyebrows. He's definitely the person who did it. A trial is a waste of time. If you think that, I can't believe that there's people who think Bryan Kohberger's innocent. They are insane.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? They believe that. There's people all over the place who believe that if you're like me and you're willing to look at the other side of the coin and to say, do you know what? There's things here. Like I covered earlier on in a video, earlier on today. If you missed it, go and check it out. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way, and hit like. It helps. And it's free. $3.99. And, you know, there's so many things that you raise your questions. I spoke specifically about the time advance data and the fact that they not only did they not want to go and get it and use it, or they did go and get it and used it and it didn't support what they said, but they now want to try and make people think that it don't exist anyway and they don't want it mentioned in the courtroom, which is a lie. So make that make sense. But look, other things have come out, specifically around the surviving roommates, and we've had a bone of contention for a while. I spoke about it in the live last night, which is an 8-hour time delay between when this crime happened, at least 8 hours, when this crime happened and when 911 were called, or the service that enables them to be routed to the specific law enforcement agencies to get help. Do you know what I mean? So there was some text messages between Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. So we have a quick look at them just to refresh our mind. So it's these here. Because it brings me into this situation where I think, can they actually be trusted, right? So what did they actually know? And it's these here. So these are text messages between 4:22:08 and 4:24:27. Now, I believe that there's more text messages here. There's either more text messages that we're not seeing at the moment, or there was calls that we're obviously not seeing. We're not hearing the calls because these feel a little bit disjointed. But let's just look at the ones we've got and ascertain something first of all, and that is, did the surviving roommates, were they compass mentis enough to understand that there was something going on in the house, and should they have contacted 911? So no one is answering. I'm really confused right now. Then she messages Kaylee, DM to Gonsalves, what's going on? BF to DM, then interjects, yeah dude, what the fuck? So you're thinking here, and I said this before, yeah, dude, what the fuck? So what is she saying what the fuck to? Have they had? It feels to me that there's more of a conversation. There's more texts that are missing, or there's been a call, and then they're just carrying on because she's like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? As if to affirm that what she's been told, because I don't think Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, at this stage, knows anything other than what she's being told. That's the feeling that I get, that Dylan Mortensen is in control here. She's in control and she's trying to push a story. But then we come back down here. She says Xana was wearing all black. So obviously Bethany Funk is saying this. Xana was wearing all black. So I think that there's obviously been a conversation around what she saw. Now, what we don't see here is Dylan Mortensen making any reference to bushy eyebrows, for instance. She's not mentioned bushy eyebrows. Now, did she in the call? It's possible. But what we've seen in documentation, the only mention of bushy eyebrows came after a prompt from law enforcement that then she kind of agreed with, and it's then become, oh, she said they had bushy eyebrows, which is a huge feature that people know. What happens when you look at someone? When you are come face to face with someone, what do you look at? You look at the eyes. That is a natural thing to look someone straight in the eye. So I ask here, if she's seen somebody and they've got a mask on and they're right in front of them, they're only about 3 feet away, what are they going to see? The eyes. They're going to stare straight into the face of that individual staring back at them, and they're going to see the bushy eyebrows. So I asked, why didn't Dylan Mortensen at this stage say, yeah, they had a mark, I just see their eyes, they have massive, great, bushy fucking eyebrows. Do you know anyone who's got bushy fucking eyebrows? Do you know what I mean? Do we know anyone who's got bushy eyebrows? Or even to reference someone that they know, it looked a bit like so-and-so, he's got bushy eyebrows and they had bushy eyebrows. Do you know what I mean? That is fresh in the mind. They've just seen someone who just stared them straight in the face. Or what are they saying? They've got a mask on, they're wearing black. Like, Bethany here seems to be trying to make sense of it to say, well, Xana was wearing all black. So this conversation, in my opinion, it's two people who are compass mentis. They're not so drunk, they don't know what's going on, that they can't remember what's real and what's not real. And like, when in the aftermath, they're kind of looking back, and the prosecution are almost trying to make it look like they're not trustworthy. And that's the prosecution. But something's amiss here, because when I look at this and I look at these interactions, this is not people who are off their face. They are able to have a conversation, to go backwards and forwards, to think what's going on, to message and form this. And then what happens? They're up again at 10 o'clock in the morning. So then you think, well, if they were absolutely shit-faced and they're up and they're out and then they come home and all this happens and they pass the fuck out because they're under the influence of alcohol, why is it that they wake up, like 5 hours later? Was it because they were busting for a piss? Do you know what I mean? Oh, I need a piss. Because no one's going to the toilet here. And why is that important? Because the toilet is outside Xana and Ethan's door. And from what we're told by law enforcement, as they approach the door, they see this carnage. So what did they do? Just neither of them needed to go to the loo at all. I don't know. And why is that important again? For the aforementioned reasons. It's about determining what they knew and when they knew it. And then what they did off the back end of that. Because law enforcement weren't called until around midday. And you have to ask a question as to why. And generally, if people don't call 911 when something's happened, it's because they've got something to hide. They've got something to hide. They're hiding something. So, based on what I see and what I hear and this information, there's more to it as well. This is the 911 call that we look at. And the 911 call, there is a specific part at the end. And bearing in mind that this is about ascertaining what's going on. People have been hurt, potentially passed out, they need assistance. So the person on the call is trying to understand how are the people that you're calling us about, how immediate is the assistance that they need, what's going on, is there anything that I can get you to do that can to make things better for them. But the girls, the surviving roommates here, that's not what they're doing. I don't know, pretty much 4 a.m. What is going on? Is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m., so they know the times. They're even in this call is about they're not interested in what Xana and Ethan are doing or what Kaylee and Maddie are doing. This is about, again, this story. And for that reason, I can't trust them. I simply cannot trust them, and I try, and this isn't about hating on anybody or victim blaming or anything like that. I'm just going off of what I've been told, and I'm watching other outlets like News Nation spinning things like the 911 call and saying how horrendous it is, and trying to draw your attention away to let's not think about the context of the call. Let's just think about the crime itself and how horrendous that is, because it is horrendous. It is, and that's trumping the details of the call, because it's Kansas City Shuffle. Don't look at the call and the context of the call and what's being said. Just look at the entire bigger picture and look at what's happened. But I don't want to look at what I know what's happened. What I want to see is what is going on around this property with the people who have been involved, bearing in mind there's been an 8-hour time delay in the crime happening, apparently, and 911 being called. So why is there such a delay when the text messages would lead me to believe that they're absolutely compass mentis? They're confirming and clarifying that there's something going on. They're concerned, they're worried because they're not getting any answer back from other people in the house. They don't seem to want to go and check on them physically. So again, why don't they go and check on them physically? Bearing in mind that they're in the same fucking house, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But they're also not willing to go outside and try and get help. So they're not left the house, they're just staying in the house. Now, some people are going to turn around and say, well, because I heard someone say, well, they wouldn't call 911 because they're scared. But they're calling fucking other people in the house. So they're not scared of making calls. They're not scared of text messaging. And at some point, Dylan Mortensen would seemingly end up with Bethany Funk in her room. So they're not scared about moving and manoeuvring around the house. So something's here. And Dylan Mortensen coming to the door and shouting out, apparently, I just can't trust him. There is something hugely off here. Hugely off. And the excuse of not ringing 911, I cannot make sense of it. Whatever I do, however I look at it, that there is nothing that makes it make sense to me. And I can turn around and say, no, I get it. I get it. You can't just turn around as a guilter and tell me, well, you weren't there, you don't know. They're young. 5-year-olds call 911. They are compos mentis, they are messaging one another, they're aware that something's going on, or they're alluding to the fact something's going on. They've seen an intruder in the house, they're trying to contact other people in the house. Please tell me why they didn't call 911, and if they didn't want to call 911, why they didn't try to call someone else that they knew to perhaps bring them over to the property. How do we know that what happened to these 4 victims, that there wasn't some degree of time when they could have been helped, they could have been assisted? How do we know that? How do we know that one of these victims weren't waiting and that delay in help, that delay in assistance didn't play part in their death? It's a horrible thing to think about, but something's fucking amiss here. Hugely amiss. Seeing firemen's and vacuum cleaners being carried, just trying to put this picture that is fucking insane. There's no mention even in these messages that she thought she saw a fucking fireman. Again, there may have been a call and more context will be added to this, but I'm just going by what I see. And by what I see, I don't understand how people can conclude that Bryan Kohberger is guilty of this crime and everything else is fucking... There's nothing to see here. I don't agree. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah.